My name's Karen Berry and I'm a Growth Hub Connector in the North East Growth Hub, which is part of the North East Local Enterprise Partnership. The reason why many sectors are finding it difficult to recruit, particularly at the moment, is that there has been some great changes in the who is working and how we are working since the pandemic. There has been a case where a lot of older workforce have moved into what they call economic inactivity. There's also, with the changes to the cost of living and pressures that way, and childcare costs in particular going up, there's been less parents returning to work after having children, so there's pressures in lots of different ways. Another aspect has also been that the way we work is different. People are expecting to be able to work from home if their job role can accommodate it, and this has led to employers having to be more flexible about the place of work. There's also a situation where people who have got skills and talents in the region have got the opportunity to work elsewhere in the country and elsewhere in the world, now that remote working has been more accepted as a way of employing people. Back in the day, you wouldn't hear of people living in our region and working regularly in London, but I think that's quite commonplace. We probably all know people who do that. So there's definitely more competition for those people who have got talents and skills. The main barrier people need to overcome when they're trying to attract people is the fact that they have to make their workplace somewhere that people want to work. Now, employer branding used to be a nice to have thing, now it really is key. Employers really have to think about the package that they're offering, not just the remuneration. As I talked about previously, they need to have a think about how people are working. Is it hybrid, is it in the workplace, but also work-life balance and all of the other things that go into that. I think these days people are very motivated to work for companies who they believe in their purpose, and they also want to work somewhere which has got a really good culture and that aligns with their values in particular. And I don't think that's just younger people. Often you see that in the press that it's, you know, Gen Z who were after that. I think it's people of all ages. The region at the moment does have some well-documented skills gaps, particularly around digital skills, health and life sciences skills, but also there's a situation where we have people who there's skills needed in the caring professions as well. So it's not just at the very cutting edge of technology, but also people who are providing that one-to-one care support as well. And I think what we need to really get to is a situation where sectors are planning ahead and working with the schools and with universities to make sure that the skills that are going to be needed in the next 5 to 10 years there's a pipeline of people coming through who can fill those gaps. And that also goes to retraining staff as well and making sure that they have got a good plan in place to give their current employees the skills that are going to see them through the next 5 to 10 years as well. To give yourself a competitive edge in the recruitment market, I think really it comes down to employer brand and being somewhere that people really want to join. That's not just about the remuneration package, it's not just about the place and it, you know, having a funky pool table and, you know, all the modern sayings on a wall, you know, a bar and free beer on a Friday afternoon. I think it's more than that. It's about the culture. I think people these days want to work for an employer that will also invest in them, so they want somebody who will give them the skills and the opportunities to progress in their career. Although people don't tend to stay in a career from, you know, in the same employer from day one when they're, you know, in their early 20s till they retire in their 60s these days, people do tend to move about. That's usually to do with opportunity. So the more that employers can do to invest in their staff and make them want to stay and to see their career over a length of time with a particular employer, I think the better. I think employees are looking really for, as I said, employers who will invest in them. They want it to be a nice place to work, they want a good work-life balance, they want flexibility, they want everything, don't they? But they also really want to feel like they're achieving something, and I think this comes down to purpose. And I know we talk a lot about that at the LEP, about purpose-led organisations, but I think purpose-led organisations with a good culture will always be able to recruit and retain staff in a way that other businesses can't. It's much cheaper long term to retain staff and invest in them rather than to have to always recruit new skills into the company. The attrition of staff with people leaving and then having to be replaced can be disruptive. It affects morale, it affects productivity. So the more that employers can do to invest in their own staff and retrain them or improve their training levels to a higher degree so that they can meet those needs has got to be beneficial. Where businesses are struggling to recruit and retrain staff, we would always recommend that the first port of call would be to have a look on the North East Growth Hub, and there's some resources on there that employers can take a look at. It will help them to identify programmes which can help with training needs analysis and signposting to education providers and training providers. There's also the opportunity on there to access ways to engage with schools, colleges and universities to help develop a pipeline of skilled people who are going to come through in the next 5 to 10 years for that particular sector.